I found out my wife was cheating on me through an app called Blind Talk. Anonymous online project. Strangers get paired in voice chats to talk about personal stuff. No names, no photos, just words. Honesty through anonymity. That's their slogan. And somehow, it worked. Just not the way they probably intended. How it happened and what came out of it you're about to hear. So I suggest you listen till the end. It gets complicated. And yeah, it gets interesting. But let's start from the beginning. I'm Ethan. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Suburb, nice neighborhood. Got the house, the lawn, the dog. You know the drill. I've been married to Rachel for 9 years. No kids. Not for lack of trying. But life just didn't go that way. We told ourselves we were fine with it. Focused on careers instead. I work in cybersecurity, mostly remote. Long hours, screen glow, quiet coffee. She's in HR at a biotech firm. Busy, polished, always in control. The kind of person people trust without even knowing why. Our life, from the outside, it looked solid. Predictable. Comfortable. We shared Spotify playlists. Grocery lists. A bank account. We even shared silence, the kind that doesn't feel awkward anymore, just routine. And maybe that was the first red flag. Because a few months ago, Rachel started acting different. She smiled less. Laughed at different things. Started locking her phone. Taking calls in the car. That sort of stuff. And then she told me she was joining some personal growth experiment. Said it was through a friend. Said it helped with self-reflection. Blind Talk. She described it like a digital confessional. A way to speak freely without judgment to someone who didn't know you at all. I remember raising an eyebrow and joking, "What? Like therapy for introverts?" She laughed. Something like that. I didn't push. I mean, hell, maybe it was helping her. If she needed to vent, better to some stranger than bottle it up, right? Except I downloaded the app too. Not because I suspected anything. Not yet. I just got curious. Tech nerd curiosity. Created a dummy profile. Picked a time slot. Got matched with someone. Plugged in my earbuds. And then I heard the voice. Familiar. Calm. A little softer than usual. It was Rachel. Only she wasn't Rachel in the chat. She called herself Marie. And she started talking. She had no idea she was talking to me. She just kept going. Like she'd been holding it in for months. Maybe years. "It's not that I don't love him," she said. "I do in some way. But it feels like I'm married to a ghost. He's there, but he's not with me." I just sat there. Eyes locked on the screen. Fists clenched. "I don't think he even sees me anymore," she said. "I could wear the same outfit 3 days in a row, and I don't think he'd notice. We don't talk. We coordinate. It's all schedules and chores and, what do you want for dinner? That's not a marriage. That's a roommate with a mortgage." She paused. I heard her breathe in. Slow. And then she said it. "There's someone else. Right there. Just like that. There's a guy at work. Nothing's happened. Not physically. But I think about him. A lot more than I should. I know it's wrong, but when he talks to me, I feel like a person again. Not a project manager or a wife or a background character. Just me." I swear my heart stopped. Because I knew. I'd seen it. The shift. The extra care with how she dressed some mornings. The soft smile when her phone buzzed. The way she pulled away slightly when I kissed her on the cheek. I thought it was stress. I thought it was just time. But this wasn't distance anymore. This was direction. She was heading somewhere else. I just hadn't caught up yet. She kept talking. I kept listening. "It's not that I want to cheat. I don't even know if I have it in me. But sometimes I catch myself hoping he'll say something. Invite me out. Make a move. And that scares me. Because a part of me wants to say yes." I felt sick. Not angry. Not yet. Just sick. That kind of hollow, shaky feeling where everything in your life suddenly doesn't make sense the way it did 5 minutes ago. She called herself Marie in the app. But it was Rachel. My wife. Sitting somewhere in the same house, talking to me like I was a stranger, and finally telling the truth. And here's the thing. She didn't sound cruel. She didn't sound like someone looking for an excuse. She sounded broken, confused, lonely. And the worst part? I understood, which made it hurt even more. When the session ended, I sat there for a long time. Didn't close the laptop. Didn't move. I could have walked into the other room. I could have confronted her that second. But instead, I clicked schedule next session. Same day, same time, same voice. I needed to hear more. And if I was being honest, I wasn't ready to let her know it was me. Not yet. I logged in again the next night. Same time, same voice channel, same fake name. And there she was. Rachel, or Marie, like the app called her. Sounded lighter this time. Calmer. Almost like she'd slept better after dumping all that weight in our last talk. She opened with a laugh. Hey, I wasn't sure if you'd come back. I lied. Yeah, I figured why not. Last night was honest. Refreshing in a weird way. Yeah, she said. It really was. Then she jumped right in. No warming up this time. You know what's weird? She said. I woke up this morning feeling closer to a stranger on an app than I do to my own husband. And just like that, my stomach turned again. I was silent for maybe a beat too long. She noticed. Sorry. That probably sounded harsh. No, it's fine, I said. It's honest. Yeah, she said softly. It's just been building for a while. I think I've tried to fix it. Or maybe I just convinced myself I did. But he didn't notice. Or didn't want to. She paused like she was checking herself. Anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you all this again. I guess I just feel like you get it. I get it? I'm your husband. I'm the guy brushing his teeth in the next room. I should get it, but you never told me. Not like this. I saw him today, she said. The guy I told you about. I didn't breathe. He brought me coffee. Just showed up at my desk. Said he remembered I liked it a certain way. That's such a dumb thing to get emotional about, right? But when he handed me that cup, She trailed off. And I knew what she was trying not to say. You wanted to kiss him, I said. Silence. Then, yeah. Just one word. Quiet. Like it hurt to admit, even anonymously. She laughed again. Not because it was funny, but because she was embarrassed. I'm not the cheating type, she said. I used to roll my eyes at people who did stuff like this. Emotional affairs, secret messages, hotel rooms. I always thought, just leave if it's that bad. But now? I don't know. I think I get it. Every part of me wanted to tell her to stop. To shut the hell up. To stand up, walk into the other room, and look me in the eye while saying this. But I stayed quiet. Because something about the way she was speaking, it wasn't just about that guy. It was about us. About the space we'd let grow between us. And now someone else was filling it. She said, I haven't told anyone this. Not even my best friend. But with you. I don't feel judged. You're just listening. And I don't even know your name. I almost told her. Right there. Almost dropped the whole act. Just to see the panic in her voice when she realized who she'd been confiding in. But I didn't. Because part of me wasn't ready for what came next. And part of me needed to know how far she was willing to go. Do you think he likes you? I asked. She hesitated. Then, yeah. I think he does. And I think he's trying to be careful. But if I gave him the green light. Another pause. Like she was waiting for me to say something. Instead, I asked, would you? Another long silence. I don't know, she finally said. I want to say no. But I don't trust myself anymore. She wasn't crying. She wasn't breaking down. She was just being honest in a way I hadn't heard in years. And the craziest part? She was right. This was easier. Talking to a stranger. Confessing in the dark with no consequences. Saying all the things we were both too cowardly to bring up at the dinner table. That's what scared me most. She wasn't venting. She was rehearsing. And I had a front row seat to the warm-up before the affair. That night I didn't sleep. Again. I lay there staring at the ceiling while Rachel slept beside me. Peaceful. Calm. Like nothing in the world was off. And I just kept hearing her voice in my head. If I gave him the green light. I don't trust myself anymore. I'd heard women say that in movies. I'd heard men say it too. But I never thought I'd hear it from her. Not Rachel. Not the woman who used to roll her eyes at coworkers cheating on their spouses. But here she was. Talking about it like she was halfway down the hallway to the hotel room just waiting for someone to open the door. The worst part? She still kissed me goodnight. I couldn't decide what was worse, the betrayal I saw coming or the fact that I was pretending not to know. And yeah, maybe that makes me a coward too. But here's the thing, I wasn't ready to blow it up yet. Not until I knew exactly how far she was willing to go. Not until I understood how we got here. The next session was already scheduled. She had no idea it was with the same person again. And I wasn't planning on letting that go. So the next day I played it cool. Made breakfast. Talked about weekend plans. She smiled. Acted normal. Even kissed me before leaving for work. And then later that night we met again. Only she didn't know. She logged in, same time, same voice. "Hey," she said. "I wasn't sure you'd show again." "I'm here," I said. "I'm glad. I've been thinking about our last talk. About how easy it was. Did anything happen since then?" I asked, knowing damn well what she was going to say. She took a breath. "We had lunch," she said. "Me and him. Just the two of us. It wasn't planned. We bumped into each other, and he said he was grabbing something from that little Italian place near the office. I said I was too. It just happened. I closed my eyes. He asked about my marriage," she continued. "Said I seemed distracted lately. I told him it was complicated. And then he asked if I wanted to talk more sometime. Outside of work." That pause again. The one that always came before the line that mattered. I didn't say no. I gripped the edge of my desk. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run into the other room and rip the truth out of the air between us. Instead, I asked, "Do you want to say yes?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "Yeah, I think I do." I leaned back in my chair, heart pounding. She said she hadn't scheduled anything. Not yet. But the way she talked, like it was a foregone conclusion, it told me enough. She was planning it. Maybe not on the calendar, but in her head. It was already penciled in. And then she said something that stopped me cold. "You know what's crazy?" she asked. "You're the first person I've talked to in months who actually makes me feel heard. My own husband hasn't asked how I'm doing in I don't even know how long." I swallowed hard. Because she wasn't wrong. And I hated that. I hated that I'd let things drift so far that the only way she could feel close to me was by talking to me anonymously. But hate doesn't undo damage. And silence doesn't fix trust. So yeah, I kept going. Not because I was enjoying it, but because I needed to see where this would land. I needed to know if she'd crossed the line. And if she did, what the hell I was gonna do about it. She came home later than usual. Not by much. Maybe 40 minutes. Just enough to notice. I was sitting at the kitchen table, pretending to read emails. She dropped her keys in the bowl, said traffic was hell, and went straight upstairs to shower. No hug. No kiss. No, "How was your day?" And the weirdest thing? She was humming. Not loud. Not for show. Just unconsciously. Like someone who'd had a good day and didn't care if anyone knew. I didn't say anything. Just sat there listening to the water run. The session that night was quiet at first. She sounded relaxed. Then she said it. "We saw each other again. Just like that. We didn't plan it. I swear. But we ended up in the same parking garage after work. He walked me to my car. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. She filled the silence on her own. We didn't kiss. But it got close. Really close. I gripped the edge of my chair. I could hear my pulse in my ears. I wanted to," she said. "I really, really did." There was a smile in her voice. Not proud. Not ashamed. Just honest. I told him I wasn't ready, she added. But I think I will be soon. I closed my laptop. Not out of anger. Out of something worse. I was done hearing it secondhand. Now I needed to see it. So the next morning I started watching her like someone trying to solve a puzzle. She didn't act like a villain. She wasn't cold or distant. She was happy. Lighter. Like a woman with a secret that made her feel alive again. And I hated how much sense that made. Thursday night I saw it with my own eyes. She was sitting in bed texting. Trying not to smile too hard. Then she deleted the thread. Not archived. Deleted. That was new. I walked in. She jumped slightly, then smiled like nothing was wrong. I asked, "Who was that?" She said, "Just Jules from work." She's being dramatic again. I nodded. She kissed me on the cheek, said, "I'm gonna crash early," and rolled over. I lay next to her for hours, staring at the ceiling. I knew that smile. It wasn't a friend's message. It was him. And I realized something simple and awful. I wasn't just waiting for her to cheat. I was watching it happen in slow motion. She just hadn't crossed the physical line yet. But she would. It was already in her body language. The half-truths. The skipped details. She was building her exit ramp one brick at a time. The next blind talk session was different. She said, "I almost didn't log in tonight." Why? I asked. Because I feel like I'm living two lives. And for the first time in a long time. I like both. I felt something twist inside me. "I'm not saying I'll sleep with him," she said. "But I'm not saying I won't." And then silence. For the first time since it all started, she had nothing more to say. And neither did I. Because we both knew. She was already gone. The next morning, I changed my password on the home Wi-Fi. Nothing dramatic. Just one of those small things you do when you stop playing dumb. She didn't notice. Or if she did, she didn't say anything. That was the start. Because I wasn't going to sit in silence anymore. I wasn't going to wait around like a backup option while she figured out if she still wanted to be my wife. So I started preparing. Not for a fight. For the ending. First, I backed up everything. Emails, texts, shared cloud folders. Then I logged into her phone plan and pulled the metadata. Her Jules from work? That number had a real name. And it wasn't Jules. It was Connor Reeves. Sales team. Same company. Divorced. 2 years older than me. And judging by the call logs, he texted my wife more in the last month than I had all year. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because I needed everything in order. I wasn't planning to scream. I wasn't planning to beg. I was planning to walk away with my head up and every detail in place. So I did the next thing a smart man does when the ground's starting to shift. I called a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, our lawyer. The one who did our prenup before we got married. I scheduled a quiet lunch downtown. Neutral ground. She looked at me across the table and said, "How bad is it?" I said, "Let's just say I'd rather get ahead of it than react to it." She nodded. Professional. Calm. Dead serious. "I'll draft a clean plan. If you decide to file, we'll be ready. No guessing. No delay." That's exactly what I wanted. Later that night, Rachel and I had dinner together like everything was fine. She told me about a training she might go to in Atlanta next month. Said it was optional but good for visibility. I nodded. She asked if I was okay. I looked her right in the eye and said, "Yeah. Just tired lately." She smiled. "Me too." And that was it. Later, after she went to bed, I sat in the living room and opened the Blind Talk app. She logged in right on time. "Hey," she said. "Rough day." "Same here," I answered. And then she dropped the last mask. "I think I'm going to see him. Outside of work." I didn't say anything. She filled the silence again. "He invited me to a small art thing on Saturday. Nothing crazy. He said it's just a walkthrough at some pop-up downtown. Not even a date." But her voice gave it away. She wanted it to be a date. She was hoping I, the stranger, would say, "Go for it." I asked, "Does your husband know?" She laughed. "Just once." Dry. "No. He still thinks I'm bored, not broken." That was it. That line. That's when I felt something settle inside me. Not rage. Not revenge. Just clarity. She wasn't coming back. Not really. And I wasn't going to wait for the kiss or the hotel or whatever she needed to finally call it cheating. Because for me, she crossed the line a long time ago. Saturday came. The day of the not a date. She left around noon. Casual outfit, just enough makeup to pretend she didn't try too hard. Said she was meeting a friend from the yoga group. Quick coffee and some art. I nodded. Cool. Enjoy. She kissed me on the cheek, like always. But this time I didn't just sit around. I watched her leave. Waited 5 minutes. Then pulled out my phone and opened the GPS tracker I installed in her car 2 days earlier. She headed downtown. Same location he texted her in one of the messages I pulled off the cloud backup. Same time. Same place. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. She'd been preparing this in her head for weeks. All I did was let her walk into it. 3 hours later, she came back. Bag with a coffee cup. A pamphlet from the gallery. Smile on her face, but her eyes were buzzing. Like someone trying to act normal when their heart's still racing from something they know they shouldn't have done. I didn't say a word. Not that day. Not the next. I waited. Monday night. After dinner. She was scrolling on her phone. I was doing dishes. And then I said it. Calm. Simple. "How's Connor?" She froze. Like someone unplugged her brain mid-scroll. She looked up. Who? I dried my hands on a towel and turned to her. Connor Reeves. Sales rep, divorced. Drives the black Audi. Guy who texts you more than I do. Silence. Then came the classic. "You went through my phone?" I laughed. Honest to God laughed. "No. I didn't have to. You handed it to me the second you stopped looking me in the eyes." She opened her mouth probably to lie and then saw something in my face that made her stop. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't accusing. I already knew. And she knew that I knew. I sat down at the table. Looked right at her. "You don't have to explain. I heard it all. I know everything. The art walk. The late texts. The conversations." She blinked. "What conversations?" That was the moment. I could have said it. Could have told her about Blind Talk. About how she poured her soul out to me for 3 weeks thinking I was a stranger. But I didn't. Not yet. I just looked at her and said, let's stop pretending. You checked out a long time ago. I've just been catching up. She didn't cry. Didn't scream. Didn't deny. She just looked small. Like a person who thought they had control of the story and suddenly realized they were just another page in it. And I stood up, grabbed my keys, and said, I'll be staying at a hotel tonight. The lawyer will reach out tomorrow. She whispered, Ethan. I didn't answer. Because in that moment I wasn't her husband anymore. I was the man who finally stopped waiting for someone who'd already left. I didn't sleep much at the hotel. Too quiet. Too clean. Too far from what used to be mine. The next morning, my lawyer sent over the initial draft. Straightforward. No tricks. We'd kept everything separate over the years, finances, property, no kids. It was never supposed to come to this, but if it did, it was going to be simple. I stared at the document for a while. And then I called her. Not to negotiate. To talk. One last time. She picked up fast. Voice low. Cautious. Ethan. We need to meet, I said. She agreed. No argument. Said she'd come by the hotel that evening. When she walked in, she looked like hell. Puffy eyes. No makeup. Hoodie, messy hair, not the polished version of her that walked out the door Saturday afternoon. I gestured to the chair. She sat. I didn't sleep with him, she said. I nodded. I know. She blinked. You do. I leaned forward. Looked her straight in the face. You told me. Confusion. 1 second. 2. Then it hit her. What? Blind talk, I said. The app. The voice chats. You thought you were talking to a stranger. She stared at me like I just admitted to hacking her brain. I matched with you 3 weeks ago. I recognized your voice on the first sentence. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I listened, Rachel. Every night. Every word. I didn't interrupt. I didn't confront you. I didn't even breathe too loud. She shook her head. That was you. Yeah. I saw her face change. Flicker of disbelief. Then horror. Then something else. You tricked me. I laughed. One bitter breath through the nose. I tricked you? You were planning an affair with a guy from work and I'm the bad guy because I heard you admit it. She didn't answer. Do you know what it's like, I said, to sit in the next room and listen to your wife say she feels more alive texting another man than sitting next to you? Silence. You said things to me on that app that you haven't said to me in years. Hell, maybe ever. I didn't know it was you, she said, voice barely a whisper. Exactly, I said. That's the point. You only told the truth when you thought I wasn't listening. She covered her face. No tears. Just hands hiding from the collapse. I didn't mean for it to go that far. But it did, I said. You didn't sleep with him yet. But you were working up to it like it was a goal. I was lonely, she said. I felt invisible. I get that, I said. And you know what? I would have done anything to fix it. But you didn't give me the chance. We sat there for a long time. No yelling. No drama. Just the weight of something broken beyond repair. She looked up at me. So what now? I slid the folder across the table. Now we end it like adults. She didn't touch it. Just nodded. No begging. No, we can fix this. Because she knew. It was already over. All blind talk did was make it impossible to lie about it anymore. We didn't drag it out. There were no long speeches, no late-night crying fits. She didn't beg. I didn't chase. The next week was quiet. Too quiet, honestly. She stayed in the house. I stayed at the hotel. We communicated like coworkers. Texts only. Short. Direct. Can you grab your mail? It's stacking up. Just transferred my share of the utilities. Lawyer says we can sign Thursday. It was cold, but efficient. And that's probably what hurt the most. After 9 years together, this is what we boiled down to: bullet points and calendar invites. She didn't fight the divorce. Didn't stall. Didn't guilt trip. I think, deep down, she was relieved. Maybe because the decision wasn't hers. She didn't have to be the one to say, I'm done. I said it for both of us. The house, I gave it to her. Didn't want it. Too many memories in the walls and not the kind I wanted to revisit. The car? Mine. Joint account? Split clean. There was a moment, just one, where she almost cracked. We were signing papers. Conference room, neutral ground. Lawyers present. She looked at me as she signed her name. Hand shaking slightly. Eyes red but dry. And she said, I don't hate you. I nodded. I don't hate you either. That was it. No hugs. No dramatic walkout. Just 2 signatures and a closed folder. She walked out first. And when I stepped outside 10 minutes later, I swear it felt like the air was different. Like the ground beneath my feet wasn't borrowed anymore. That night, I went home. Not to the house. To a place I'd just signed a lease on. One bedroom. Simple. Clean slate. I put my phone on silent. Turned off the lights. Sat on the floor with a beer. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I didn't feel like I was waiting for something to go wrong. Because it already had. And now it was over. A couple weeks after the papers were filed, she texted me. Not about money. Not about the dog. Just one line. I hope you're okay. I stared at it for a second. Maybe two. Then locked my phone and never answered. Because I was done having conversations with someone who couldn't tell the truth unless she was hiding behind a fake name. Some nights I still think about it, not with anger, not even with sadness. More like curiosity. How long would it be taken her to admit it? If I hadn't been the one on the other end of that call? If I'd never downloaded the app? Would I still be sitting next to her every night, blind as hell, thinking everything was fine? Probably. And that's what stays with you. Not the betrayal. Not the guy from work. The silence. The long, slow silence between two people who stopped being honest a long time ago. Blind talk wasn't what ended our marriage. We did that ourselves. The app just made sure neither of us could lie about it anymore. So, yeah. She cheated. I caught her. We divorced. That's it. That's the story. No plot twist. No revenge. Just the truth. And sometimes, that's enough.